Well, I think it's a demonstrable evidence that through society's demographics that being white has societal privileges that being black does not. But
we can talk about how that manifests, because that's
I'm also interested in what you just said now, is that you would stand next to anyone who has this. So, Mr. Shapiro, my question to you is, for Ms. Dunston, the tying the noose around the campus and writing messages that target African-American young students, would you consider that hate speech, and then would you stand next to her?
You're about to hear one of the most telling moments in a congressional exchange, and it's about far more than politics. Representative Stacey Plask asked Ben Shapiro if he believed in white privilege and whether he would defend a black student who was targeted with racist messages, framing it as a hate speech issue. What happened next reveals the battle over free speech, identity politics, and the future of honest debate in America.
Now, it's interesting, Mr. Shapiro, you talked about white privilege, and just this week, I had a conversation with Rachel Lazar, who's done some work, a Jewish American woman who's done some work on this area, as well as having extensive conversations with Dr. Greg Parks of Wake Forest University, who's also talked quite a bit about critical race theory. And it's my understanding that white privilege is not telling individuals that they cannot speak, but it is a term for societal privilege that individuals have as a benefit of their white skin. And I don't think that, and I think universities would be remiss to then say that because you're white, you're not allowed to say anything that's critical of white people. I didn't know that white privilege actually went into that sphere. My understanding is it's just, and the issue is that white privilege makes people uncomfortable to talk about the societal privilege that they have.
Well, to me, what I say on campuses all the time is, if you want to cite instances of racism that we can all find and fight together, that's something that I'm more than willing to stand next to you and fight, because that's obviously stuff that we should fight together. But when you just say that there is a white privilege out there in the ether and that by dint of birth your skin color generates for you an advantage, what you're really saying to people is that your view is less valuable because you have not experienced what I've experienced. And that is an identity argument, that's a character argument, that's not a rational political argument that can actually be taken on in any way. It's more of a cudgel and a club than it is an attempt to open a discussion.
Well, I think it's a demonstrable evidence that through society's demographics that being white has societal privileges that being black does not. But
we can talk about how that manifests, because that's
I'm also interested in what you just said now, is that you would stand next to anyone who has this. So, Mr. Shapiro, my question to you is, for Ms. Dunston, the tying the noose around the campus and writing messages that target African-American young students, would you consider that hate speech, and then would you stand next to her and fight for her?
As I say, I would. This is the first I'm hearing about it, honestly. But
really,
yeah. But from hearing about it, maybe because it's local. I mean, I'm from LA. But in any case, I'm more than happy to stand alongside her and fight whatever group was responsible for this. Not only more than happy. I mean, you're talking about the alt-right. Again, I was the #1 target of anti-Semitic harassment from the alt-right last year. So I'm more than happy to do all that. And I think there's one more distinction that has to be made. When we talk about cases like Taylor's, they're horrific, and the administration is siding with Taylor. Okay, the administration is doing the right thing by Taylor, or trying to do the right thing by Taylor, as they should be. And I think that we need to make a distinction between cases where the administration is actively participating in the suppression of speech and cases in which the administration is trying to do the right thing in order to punish people for application of crime.
You see, Shapiro didn't dodge the question. He made it clear that if someone is targeted with real racism or harassment, he would stand with them every single time. But here's where you need to pay attention. He rejected the blanket idea that skin color automatically grants societal advantage. That's not just disagreement, it's calling out the use of race as a political weapon. Think about this. When someone tells you your perspective is worth less because of your race, they're not making a political argument. They're making a personal attack. That's what Shapiro argued. He drew a sharp line between administrations that suppress speech and those that address real crimes. You're being shown the difference between justice and ideology. Shapiro even pointed to his own life as the #1 target of anti-Semitic harassment from the alt-right to prove that hate is wrong no matter where it comes from. And if you believe in defending free speech and opposing hate from all sides, now is the time to click that subscribe button so you never miss these crucial discussions. You've probably seen it yourself, how the political left has turned white privilege into a tool to silence voices they don't agree with. On campuses, in media, even in workplaces, it's being used to enforce ideological conformity. The academics who promote this aren't bringing unity. They're deepening division because their careers and influence depend on it. Here's the danger you need to recognize. This ideology flips Martin Luther King Jr.'s dream on its head. Instead of judging people by their character, it prioritizes the color of their skin. Universities are becoming strongholds of social justice ideology, pushing conservative voices to the margins and replacing genuine debate with indoctrination. So you have a choice. You can accept a worldview that tells you who can speak and what you can say based on your identity. Or you can stand for the principles that made this country strong: individual liberty, free speech, and equality under the law. In this moment, you decide whether to stay silent or speak truth in the face of pressure. The future of open debate depends on it.